Warning, this video is intended for a mature audience. You understand? Viewer discretion is advised. Yay! Alright, this is Billy Bob Tanley here, people, and this is a request from Knowledge is Power, and it was uploaded by the Th3Birdman or something, and the name of this video is Exposing the Grit, the Critical Drinker. Okay, let's check it out. Yay. Alright, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. A fucking Nazi. What the fuck? Okay.
The illusory truth effect is a phenomenon that was first detailed in a 1977
Is this a serious
study.
video?
It's the inclination of people to believe false information after being exposed to that false information many times. Repeated exposure to lies caused the false information to feel familiar to the participants. In that study, they found out that the more familiar the information feels, the more likely that familiarity
Just how they pushed John Cena down our fucking throats for years and said he was the greatest of all time. And people started to believe it.
Further studies showed that the illusory truth effect could even make people have false memories, and that people with names that were easier to pronounce were more readily believed by participants of the study. This is a powerful psychological tool that grifters employ on their audience.
Don't expect a great reaction if we're going to be like this.
How many times have you heard vaccines cause autism, or go woke, go broke?
Hey, we're going to go in this direction now.
Repeat these mantras over and over, even in the face of conflicting evidence.
I've already gave my opinions on this woke shit.
False information makes
I ain't going to get into other details about things.
Here's a network graph of the phrase "go woke, go broke" on Twitter from August 2022 to February 2023.
Well,
the blue
Marvel's doing a good job of going broke.
While the red represents
they keep making movies that suck. They get low ratings because they keep pushing their fucking woke agenda.
A literal dickhead. This brings me to the subject of this video.
What's he drinking?
Will Jordan, aka the Critical Drinker. Tell me, how many times have you heard him say, "The message"?
I think I've heard him say
it's
that.
Your friendly neighborhood Birdman here. Today,
you're not
I'm going
Birdman,
to
you're
question
Blanca.
Why people believe this grifter and show you precisely why you shouldn't.
Sounds like you just don't like the guy. Oh well, everybody's got a negative opinion about somebody.
Due to the kinds of
and because of this, I probably ain't going to upload this to my YouTube channel since it's one of those serious expose somebody
I'm
videos.
Not a political type. I rarely, if ever, bring up politics, and when I do,
fuck politics,
it's usually
man.
to make fun of them, left or right. For this behavior,
there's no such thing as left or right. It's just brainwashing bullshit. The true evil ones are the Illuminati.
My position is that political folk are mirror images of each other, participating in the Spider-Man meme, where they blame each other for doing exactly what they themselves are doing, something the drinker is heavily guilty of. I think it's silly to adhere to
I've only watched maybe one or two of his videos.
You're going to have to defend nonsense to maintain the integrity of being on that side. The only side I'm on is reason, logic, facts, science, and math.
What you believe in, somebody else might think you're believing in the wrong thing. Everybody has an opinion.
I'm doing so out of the spirit and
we're never going to know the truth of the world, folks. We're being brainwashed.
Which is something I care about deeply. Less important, but still worth a mention. I'm not doing this out of jealousy or an attempt to clout chase. I've been calling out a much bigger YouTuber for nearly 7 years.
I don't like when YouTubers call each other out.
That out of the way.
Just go after
the
fucking evil people in the world.
He is absolutely
the ones that's not on YouTube. It's control and
misinformation, outright lies, and baffling takes that don't stand up to even an
Well, to him, he's not telling lies. It's just your opinion.
An excerpt from his infamous Across the Spider-Verse video.
Also, I can't shake the feeling that the script is doing everything in its power to play down
I didn't
Peter
watch
Parker,
this.
like it's afraid the audience will somehow start rooting for him over Miles.
Why is he in that position? What the fuck was that?
The first movie portrayed him as an aging, burned-out loser who only redeems himself at the end, while the second film morphs him into a bumbling, hapless father in a pink bathrobe.
Maybe he thinks the movie is shit. He's allowed to say it.
Along on life-threatening adventures.
I don't like the frames. I hate the way it moves. That's not my type of animation. I think it sucks. That's my opinion.
That most people know and love.
I like the other Spider-Man animated series.
Straight white man in the entire movie. I don't know, man. It just kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth. That's all.
The first thing you'll notice if you've seen that movie is that he's just blatantly incorrect. Peter B. Parker is not the only straight white male in the film.
Wait, what the
in
fuck
fact, there are many of them, quite a few of them variants of Peter Parker himself. More importantly, there's
this
a prominent
multiverse
supporting
shit,
character
it's kind of
that is
ruined the
motivation for
franchise.
Spider-Gwen's entire arc in the
Too
film.
much of it.
Captain Stacy. The next issue you might see is the claim that Peter is being
Aren't you supposed to be in
irresponsible
Street
by
Fighter?
bringing his daughter on, and I quote, life-threatening adventures despite having a perfectly capable mother at home. Again, if you've watched this movie, you'd know that Peter's presence in the film was entirely to be a familiar face for Miles and to help him accept his canon
Whatever
event,
happened to actual
not go on a
Spider-Man?
life-threatening adventure.
You're the reason I had her, okay?
What is this?
That if I did a decent job raising her, that there was
Blake,
a chance
on
she was
purpose,
gonna turn
what?
out like you. And that got me excited because you are a wonderful person.
This does not remind me of
I
a
like being
Spider-Man.
around you.
It's just
Moreover,
people trying to be
May
Spider-Man.
Parker has superpowers,
Yeah, that's
and her
stupid.
dad would likely be the only one in the relationship physically capable of corralling the clearly
A
energetic
baby
child.
with Spider-Man
What's more
powers.
is he brought her to probably the safest environment she could possibly be. A hub with a million other superheroes. The less obvious observation is that Will is a race baiter. The Spider-Verse films, while featuring a black protagonist, do not contain the themes of race relations.
Has nothing to do with race, but that's not the actual Spider-Man.
Well, why even bring that up at all? And therein lies the problem.
Peter Parker
Will's
is
goal with
Spider-Man.
Many of his film reviews is to
Holy
galvanize his
mocha,
mostly
that's a good
male,
one.
mostly white, and mostly straight
Critical
audience
Drinker
around
don't
the
have anything
idea
to do with
that
Hollywood.
they are being
What?
attacked for being those three things. You do this
Don't
often enough,
defend
and
Hollywood
the audience
people.
will begin
They are
to
pure
believe it.
evil.
Hence, that
Look at what the
atrocious rating
testimonies
across the
from these
Spider-Verse.
other
But it
movie
gets
stars
even
have
better.
said too.
Here he is doing the same thing to the Batman.
Seems to be a bit of a debate going on about whether or not this movie is woke. Mainly
I did not
because of the
watch this
demographics of
Batman.
certain characters.
I'm not
And
interested.
To be fair, there is a bit of evidence to support this claim. If I was a cynical man, I'd say it's kind of interesting that the rich
And if you
corrupt
watch this Batman, you
scumbags
think it's
targeted by
good?
the Riddler all happen to be straight,
Maybe someday
white,
I'll watch
middle-aged
it.
men. But hey, I guess that's just a total coincidence.
Seriously, what the fuck does this movie have to do with race? He has straight
I
white
don't know, I
men in
didn't
his
watch it.
mouth so often you'd think he was an escort. If he applied even a little of that gray matter, maybe
I ain't
he'd
reading
come
all
to the
that.
conclusion that most rich people in our society tend to be white men. The Riddler was going after police officers and politicians, and again, in our society,
Riddler's not my
they
favorite
tend
Batman
to be
villain.
white. What Drinker is asking for here is diversity, but only amongst the
I heard
villains
that
of the
word
film.
thrown around a lot.
Moreover, what he's
Diversity,
conveniently leaving
woke,
out is
and
Riddler also
other
attempted
shit.
to assassinate the mayor-elect.
I just miss
a
when the
black
world
woman.
was normal.
If all of this wasn't baffling enough, he himself states this film isn't about race.
And to be fair, Kravitz and Jeffrey Wright both do a great job with the roles they're
that
given.
Catwoman?
And apart from one poorly judged line from Catwoman right at the end, race never really comes into the picture. So I guess what I'm saying here is that while the movie takes a few little stabs at modern day social issues, it really never dominates the narrative.
Does he even hear himself?
Why don't you and
Listen
him
to
talk
this
it out?
incredible leap in logic for Godzilla vs. Kong.
And oh look, Kong's been abducted from his homeland and taken across the ocean to America in chains.
I do remember that one.
There's on-the-nose writing,
Slavery
and then
imagery
there's next-level
blurred
stuff
because
like this.
YouTube.
I wonder who you're supposed to sympathize with here.
Yes, Drinker just called African slaves apes and tried to frame it as the screenwriters doing so.
What?
That, my children, is what we in the English-speaking world call projection. And like almost every observation this guy makes, it's
Why send me
hilariously
this?
wrong. They're not even taking Kong to America. They're going to Antarctica in this scene. So
Is that-
not only
that's the
did he get
original
the
Kong
scene
versus
wrong,
Godzilla,
he
right?
saw racial themes in a film where there are none because his brain immediately goes to black people when he sees an ape in chains. In my last video, I showed a tweet by Drinker that I thought
I don't
made
know about
it
that now.
painfully obvious what his positions on black people in the media were. What I didn't
So you're
account for
King Kong
was
is not
the
a black
insane
person.
mental
Never
gymnastics
mind.
people would perform in order to deny that his post was racist in nature.
Everything
here's
somebody
a
says
tweet
is
from a
racist
different
to
person.
somebody. I'm
If
getting
you're
tired of that
unfamiliar,
shit.
This person is Nick Fuentes, a proud white supremacist. Sounds contradictory.
you
I know,
fucking
what
kidding
with
me?
being a
It says-
Mexican and having a name like Fuentes while being a white supremacist, but no one ever said white supremacists were intelligent. The point is,
the
doesn't
fuck?
this tweet seem to be placing emphasis
I'm tired
on
of the
a
racism,
specific
man.
character in the Minecraft movie? I mean, now that I've told you,
But
this
I'm
person
also
is a
tired of
white
agendas
supremacist,
being shoved down our
it's
fucking
obvious
throats.
what his issue is, isn't it? So I'll ask again, what do you honestly think Will's problem with this image was? Do you really believe he's this upset about Jason Momoa's character here?
Fuck that
Hold
movie.
thought.
I ain't watching
We're just
that.
getting started.
Conservatives do this thing where they'll sit in a room, they'll watch a girl and a guy go into the other room,
He's
and they'll
got a
hear
gun
her
on his
screaming
wall.
for 30 minutes and then come back out like bloodied and bruised, and you'll be like, bro, did that guy just beat the shit out of her? And the conservatives will look you in the eye, dead in the eye, into the
We're divided,
ovals of your
folks.
soul. They will
Every
look
one of
into
us
you,
are divided.
and they will say,
I'm sick of this planet.
I didn't actually see
Time
what
to
happened,
go.
did
Nuke
you?
it.
How can you improve that? Like, why would you assume that? Do you even fucking know? Like, they're the most shameless bad faith people in the universe. They're shameless.
One of the
Shameless
tactics of
drugs.
grifters and their parrots is to attempt to maintain an
I don't hear that word thrown around a lot.
ability
Grifter,
so that
that's a
when
new
they
one.
criticized for their bigotry,
So I gotta remember
they can
that
hide
now.
behind deflections. In my previous video, I brought up one of them, the "but Ripley from Alien" defense. In short, these people try to use examples
when
that
did you
match
become
or
so
are similar to
intelligent?
the identity of a group that they regularly target
The
to
fuck?
pretend they are not prejudiced
No, Blanc
against
is
that
usually
group.
a scientist,
In political
right?
discourse, this is probably more well known as
I'm not
"But
racist.
I
I
have black
have
friends."
What the fuck?
We know that doesn't actually work as a defense because we have actual history of slave owners falling in love with their slaves and that male sexists still love their female family members. But when you have sustained
What?
and consistent campaigns against certain
Smaller
groups of
white
people,
text.
it's entirely reasonable to suggest you have a dislike
If we had just
for those
been made,
groups. For real,
here's an idea.
one
We
of
should
those
have been
groups
created to look like a
is
fucking
women.
rainbow.
Let's
Problem
examine one
solved.
of
No
the
more
most egregious
racism.
cases of Will's attempts at plausible deniability. On January 5th, 2020, Drinker uploaded
Was
a
that
video about
Steve
The
the Devil?
Mandalorian. In it, he had this to say about Gina Carano.
But for the life of me, I'll never understand why they cast Gina Carano. I mean, she's big and burly, and she obviously knows what she's doing when it comes to the fight scenes. But
What
she's
is
a
this?
fucking cage fighter, not an actor. Watching her trying to emote is almost as painful as watching Brie Larson trying to be funny.
I don't know, I didn't
it could
watch
have been
it.
worse. They could have cast
That's
Ronda
Mandalorian,
Rousey.
is it?
Pretty obvious he dislikes
care.
this person and thinks she shouldn't be an actor. Fair enough. However,
She
later
does have
that
a lot of
year,
muscle.
Gina got into a string of spats on Twitter that had her facing accusations of racism and bigotry, and she was subsequently fired by Disney. Then, a few months
Disney's
later,
the most
Drinker makes a
evil
video about
corporation
Gina
out there.
so embarrassing, you just have to hear it to believe it.
Gather round, dear viewer, as I tell you a tale. It's the tale of a woman who stood tall in the face of jealousy, cowardice, hatred, and vengeance,
Okay,
and
tell
dared
the story.
to utter a single word. No. It's the
Fuck
story of the girl who wouldn't back down. She fought and won many battles
She's an
and
MMA
earned
fighter,
herself
huh?
great acclaim. But the young woman had her eyes set on a higher goal, and eventually she gave up her life of fighting, travelling instead to the great kingdom of Hollywood
lost some of the
to
muscle,
seek
she'll look
fame
fine.
and glory as an actor instead. And as it turns out, her long years of training
she got
and
too much
fighting
muscle.
served her
That's-
well.
I've seen
Soon,
worse.
She was chosen for many roles on the silver screen. Her triumph was cemented when the king and queen chose her to play a soldier, fighting amongst
seen
the
her
stars
somewhere.
themselves.
I feel like I'm seeing her in
Her
another
fame
movie.
was growing fast, but sadly, so was her list of enemies.
This is a flip-flop so insane, it could put Crocs and Birkenstock out of business. And this isn't even
I think the
only
critical
video he's
drinkers
made
got
about.
more
Listen
people
to
that
this
agree with him that
nonsense.
this is
One
the
of the
disagree.
problems with hiring strong, independent women to work at your company instead of the usual
That
assemblage
bitch
of
right
soft,
there,
entitled,
no,
like-minded
do not
corporate
defend her.
trolls that have never had an original thought in their entire
She's a
lives
fucking
is that they
asshole.
don't always think, say, or do the things
Weird,
that you want them
weird.
to. Case in point, Gina Carano, a former women's MMA fighter turned actor who was brought in to play Cara Dune on The Mandalorian. And at first, all seemed well. The show was a success and Carano's character
Today's
soon
series
became
and
a fan
movies just
favourite.
suck.
Unfortunately, she began to ruffle feathers behind the scenes at Disney Lucasfilm by refusing to spout the same politically acceptable talking points as everyone else at the company, and even dared to express some conservative
Too much,
political views
ma'am.
at times.
He spoke about this person like she was a dog, outright saying she can't even act. But as soon as she spouts nonsense and conspiracy theories and gets fired for her troubles, he's writing
I didn't even
poems and
pay attention to
puff
that
pieces.
story.
But for the life of me,
Let's try
I'll
to stay
never
away from
understand
that.
why they cast Gina Carano. I mean, she's
clown
big
is
and
pointing at
burly,
me.
and she obviously knows what she's doing
Fuck
when it comes
clowns.
to the fight scenes. But she's a fucking cage fighter, not an actor. Watching her trying to emote is almost as painful as watching Brie Larson trying to be funny.
This
I don't
man
watch
is
her movies, so I can't
shameless.
really say.
If it isn't obvious by now, he has a clear political agenda, and this colors his work. Before he knew she shared political opinions that align with his grift, he
Fuck
was a girl
politics.
boss, only here to
That's
promote
what ruins the
Kathleen Kennedy's
entire
work agenda,
planet.
and shouldn't have even been cast.
I fucking
But
hate the
now,
word politics.
she's a
I hate the
shield
word
he
woke.
can use to deflect criticism.
I hate
about
the
his
word planet
obvious
Earth.
disdain for strong female characters.
Strong,
look
independent
over
female
here and
characters.
Pay no attention to the man
Woman
behind the
power,
curtain.
gay power.
Who are you?
Speaking of agendas, the Barbie movie and his subsequent analysis
didn't
evaporated
watch
any
that
hope I
trash.
had left for this man's integrity. Listen to how he sums up the marketing of the film and then his reading of the actual film's release.
Now, before I dive into this review properly, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and genius PR campaign of the Warner Brothers marketing
Y'all love
department.
Barbie.
You guys really pulled off a miracle with this one, successfully duping all of us, including me, into believing that Barbie was going to be just another colourful, light-hearted, easygoing family comedy with some
stupid.
cheeky, self-aware humour, ironic meta gags, and probably capped off with a blandly inoffensive
That's what I mean, a
female
little
empowerment
Barbie.
message about girls learning the value
The
of
pink
their own
car shit, yeah,
potential.
pink boat.
What none of us expected was 114 minutes of spiteful, bitter, mean-spirited,
And they think
borderline
kids like
unhinged
that.
hatred of men and everything even vaguely associated with them. Barbie is like the deformed, mutated rage child of Captain Marvel,
Oh, God,
Ghostbusters
that-
2016, and
no.
She-Hulk.
No, fuck
It is
every one of
pure
those.
brain cancer in movie form.
Can't
and I was
defend those shitty
genuinely
movies.
shocked by the sheer, undisguised contempt this film has towards 50% of the human population.
Here's how you know somebody is
Besides
right.
the fact
Look
that
at the
this is one
fucking
of the
ratings
most
on the movies.
hyperbolic,
That's how you know
nonsensical
how many
summations
people
of this
actually
movie,
watched it.
How could he have possibly come to that conclusion for the film's marketing? It was plainly obvious that Margot's Barbie was the main character and that she would face an existential crisis.
What are you doing watching Barbie?
Do you guys ever think about dying?
This is one of
On
those
top of that, they
movies
show
for
Barbie's
females to
feet
watch.
going flat, suggesting that the film would be
'Cause
clearly feminist in nature.
a foot
as
fetish
feminists
thing.
have been arguing against
You don't know
heels for
Hollywood, man.
decades.
They are
The
evil.
marketing material also
I know
shows
what they
Barbie
do.
entering the real world and
They
experiencing
brainwash people and
sexual
shit.
assault. And I can only conclude
You can't
that
say
Drinker's media
sexual
literacy is
assault.
questionable at best. To
It's a
belabor this
word,
point,
sexual-
He's been
oh my
caught
God.
changing the titles of his videos after a media property releases
That's that one
to
guy,
hide his
Game of
terrible
Thrones
perception
man,
of
isn't it?
marketing material. And if all that wasn't enough to prove that Mr. Jordan has the integrity of a sandcastle, here's something that was brought to my attention.
think he cares
On
what
one of
other
Drinker's
people
live
think.
streams, he attributed a false quote to
He should
Isabella
be doing
Merced
live
about
streams,
the failure
so.
of Madame Web.
Some of the stars of the film have got theories about why that is.
I'm not
one of
watching
them is right
Madame
here.
Web. Sounds
Isabella
boring as fuck, and heard it was
Is that the
boring as
word?
fuck too.
Merced?
Sure. Yep.
She said it failed for one simple reason. For the same reason that the Marvels or Bird of Prey failed.
Marvels,
because the male audience
ugh.
still hides a deep contempt for
That's what I
everything
think
that
it is.
starring strong,
Yep.
independent women.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel
The
2,
truth
whatever
is
the
the
fuck.
truth, I guess.
Sure. I mean, that's definitely the reason Birds of Prey failed and the Marvels. It wasn't because they were bad films that no one wanted. For sure.
Isabella was, of course, inundated with hate from parrots that
Isabella.
took these quotes at face value
Oh,
because
never
why would grifters lie to them? She then had to come out and deny these clearly false allegations, but
Grifters,
by then, the damage was already
groomers,
done.
creeps,
To date, there has been
bullshit.
no update, no retraction,
words,
no
just keep
public
getting
apology
formed.
on Twitter from Will Jordan for spreading this quote, and that's because he has a vested interest in seeing the culture war proliferate in media
Like
discourse,
Ghostbusters
as this
failed.
is profitable for him. Even if
Well,
he didn't
everybody
know the
gets on
quote was
YouTube
fake,
reviews, they
this
get on
shows
just for the
lack
hell of it.
Research and
They want an
effort he
audience,
puts
you
into his
know,
work.
and they put
No
work into their
discernment,
stuff.
No ability to perform an investigation, and hastily attributes an obviously fake quote in a concerted effort to confirm his biases. Why would you take anything he says seriously at this point?
Well, not
How can
everybody
you
will
trust
take everything he
he's done
says
the
seriously,
homework?
but most
This
of
is
the
not
things
the
he
first time
says.
he's been caught manipulating a narrative.
Or else he
The
wouldn't get all the
YouTuber Pillar
views
of
he gets
Garbage
and all the
exposed
likes.
Drinker for lying about scenes in Glass Onion because Drinker has a political gripe with Rian Johnson, the director of Glass Onion, and
I never
The Last
watched it.
Jedi, a film he and his ilk have pilloried for the past 7 years because of
Star
perceived
Wars is already
wokeness.
ruined anyway.
Here's a clip.
The
With
example of
wokeness.
drink he gives for Ryan
The longer it
Johnson's
keeps
blatant
going.
rewriting is the scene where Blanc and, as we later see,
that
Helen
Batista?
spot Duke's voyeurism.
Batista's watching his girlfriend supposedly having an affair with Miles, only to be observed by Blanc.
When did
Now
this
look at
happen?
the later version of this exact same scene. Notice how Helen's been added in here when she totally should have been visible before.
Except, no, that isn't true.
What?
There's a reason the drinker plays these clips on mute. Let me put the sound back on for
Copyright reasons, I guess. What is happening? What movie is...
That was the first time we see this. There's a close shot of Duke, then we hear the twigs.
Why is he in the
snap,
grass
and then
with
we
his
pull
shirt
back
off?
to a shot revealing Blanc. Here's the scene as we're shown it later on.
I guess you gotta pay all the details in the... This movie looks stupid. Batista
We
watched his
start
girlfriend
with
get
this
fucked.
slightly wider shot, revealing Blanc and Helen. Then Helen leaves, causing that sound, and Duke turns round. This point is the moment we saw earlier on, and there's a very
Batista,
obvious,
why?
very obtrusive sound cue, the sole purpose of which is to communicate precisely this.
Just
Look,
stay
you
as
can enjoy
Drax.
the way moments like this toy
Or
with
be
the
other
audience
people that's like
perspective,
Drax.
complementing the film's themes, these ideas of how we see and how we falsely composite and rationalize these perceptions away from the truth, away from what's really plainly shown to us. Or you
I'm
can
not watching this
dislike it.
movie,
But what
Glass
you can't
Onion.
do is lie about
Fuck
how
onions,
the
by
film
the way.
constructs moments like these on a mechanical level. And that's what the drinker does here to cap off his video, to build into this last point.
Why would Drinker do that? Is he incompetent or is he a blatant liar? These are the only two choices you have. and
Everybody
both of
lies,
them
I
are
guess.
damning for his reputation.
But the views,
And yet,
how
he
they
doesn't
getting all those
seem to
views
care,
then?
Because I guess his followers don't seem to
Oh, yeah,
care.
never mind.
I mean, he publicly demonstrates that he
They
can't
like his
keep up with
content.
basic logic all the time.
And there's people
Look
that
at
don't
this
like
tweet
it.
from Star Wars Holocron. They are very obviously making the point that sometimes a show's first season isn't always where it finally ends up, with a couple examples, including the Clone Wars and Breaking
Clone
Bad.
Wars. Breaking Bad's a
Will
good
saw
show.
this. I mean, how do you fail at understanding the point this hard? This is one of two things. He either understands the point being made, but is attempting to misrepresent the point to, again, galvanize
This
an
is too
already
much,
volatile
man.
audience against a contentious product, thereby sending his parrots to harass this account, which actually
parrots?
fucking happened, or he
He's got
doesn't
parrots?
understand the purpose of an analogy.
How many
Stupid
parrots?
people do this all the time. You'll say, well, fish swim and Olympic sprinters run, with the underlying logic.
Well, of
being
course
how
they're gonna
they
attack. You're
locomote.
talking
And
shit
the
about 'em.
stupidest person you know will
I
say,
talk shit about
"Did you
things and
just
I get
compare
attacked for
fish
it."
to an Olympian? And this is exactly why analogies are on IQ tests.
The
I'm
whole
willing
planet's
to be charitable
retarded.
to Will and
Deal
suggest
with it.
it's
That's
the
just the
former,
way it
that
is.
He knows the point that's being made.
That's
but
why I
he's
want this
misrepresenting
fucking
it to fit
place
the
to be
narrative he's
nuked.
trying to push.
I'm tired of people
I mean,
going against
the
each other
alternative
and
is to suggest
fucking
he's low
agendas and the
IQ.
evil people out there
I
running
would
the
never
whole
do
entire
that.
thing.
His Twitter alone is an embarrassment of narrative pushes,
Ubisoft
from platform
had to-
boosting known anti-black racists like Kang Min Lee to even shit-talking PETA because he perceives them to be left-wing, I guess?
PETA?
I don't know. That last one was just...
I'm
a
tired of
bit
hearing the
weird.
word left
So I bring you
wing,
back to this
right
tweet.
wing. It's just bullshit.
What do you
Everybody's
honestly think
being
he's saying?
manipulated.
So far, we've demonstrated
to
he
fight
will
each-
lie
against
or
each
manipulate
other.
a narrative, use a member of a group that he regularly targets
She
as a
got big
form
tits.
of plausible deniability, that he clearly has issues with minority groups, and that he perceives
Why is
women
Miles
being in these
Morales
roles
not
to
wearing
be
his
a
Spider-Man
political
mask?
push. Which of the humans in this
That is a
image
little
fits all
strange.
that criteria? What this person does is not honest.
I want to see you two
critique. He
fight.
looks for
Blanca
ways he can
versus
engineer
Critical
alt-right
Drinker on
political
his
talking points under the
fucking
guise of being
whatever
a
Jack
movie
Daniels.
reviewer. And I know his fan base doesn't want to believe that he is prejudiced against minority groups, but after everything you've seen here,
Prejudice,
if you're an honest
racist,
person, you're at the very least
everything in the
asking
world, man.
questions. Why would he
And
bring up
everybody gets
conversations
offended
about
by
race
something.
in films where that isn't the focus? Why would he lie and manipulate footage of a film made by a person that he politically disagrees with?
I didn't watch the
Why
film,
is
so I
he
can't really
spreading
say.
misinformation about a woman and attributing political positions to her? What does any
Well,
of this
movies these
have to
days
do
always
with
force a
film?
main woman.
This
Yeah,
is because
strong,
he's
independent
not a film
woman.
reviewer.
When they do it too much,
He's
you
a
start
political
thinking
ideologue
there is
that
some kind of
complains
agenda
almost
going on, and
exclusively
making the
about
males look like
mainstream
weak
media
pussies.
to push rhetoric. In fact, you'll never see him talking about or promoting anything that's not mainstream unless it's an attempt at a narrative push. So yeah, he'll talk about Squid Game or Kingdom because they're mainstream.
Game. I've
but
seen the first
do any
season.
of you believe he cares about Korean media at all? You know, because Korean women are probably some of the most feminist on earth, to the point that
I don't know, I've
it
never
heavily
been to
contributes
Korea.
to their birth rate decline and the
feminists, I'm
swath
tired of
of
hearing that
strong
word, too.
female protagonists that permeate Korean
And
media
fucking
coverage.
vegans and all that
He has
shit.
no idea because he can
They
only
use it as a
regurgitate
weapon.
talking points against what's in the mainstream, because you can't grift on things people don't know
Grift.
about.
God, that
This
word's
is
gonna be
why
nailed
his
in my
review
head
for
now.
Season 4 of
There
The
we go.
Boys
There's a
is
real
what it
show,
is.
fucking
He admits he hasn't even
Boys.
watched it, yet claims it has destroyed its audience.
It does have
His
a lot of
source
dicks
being
in
the
it, which I
audience
get tired
score on
of.
Rotten Tomatoes.
So it was off to Rotten Tomatoes for me to check out the reviews. Not the critic reviews, of course, because nobody in their right mind gives a shit what those fucking shills have got to say about anything anymore. I'm talking about the audience reviews, which is the only semi-reliable barometer for quality these days.
What's the next season of this ever going to come out? Oh, did it not do too good?
The fact
that was the
TV
latest
show
season, wasn't
reviews
it?
on Rotten Tomatoes aren't verified, meaning they are subject to review bombs.
Yeah, they need to slow down with certain things.
The same energy with, I don't know, The Marvels, Black Widow, or Quantumania, movies that have pretty good audience scores.
It had potential.
Like Drinker is the living embodiment of this meme, doesn't it? Of course,
he's just giving opinions on movies he thinks sucks.
Black people in lead roles, or I'm tired of female protagonists, like The Quartering stupidly did.
Female protagonists are okay. It's just when they constantly do it fucking nonstop,
so he has to
and making the men look weak.
Dog whistles to maintain the facade.
We know there's an agenda behind it, and the race swapping of characters.
So let me finally address
Snow White, for example. She's supposed to be pale white skin. That's who she is. Snow White, not Snow Brown.
Those that advocate for them.
Fucking
it's
goddamn
irresponsible
shit.
to your, my, and every other audience that consumes film and teaches them nothing about.
If I keep getting sent these videos, I'm just going to start being quiet.
Environment for neutral people that may stumble across your slop, where they may assume that film criticism is.
Blanca, come on, man! You're supposed to be fighting against Gal.
Service to the craft. And give the rest of film YouTube a bad name. I think I
YouTube
speak on behalf of every reasonable film reviewer out there.
All it is now is people
going
against each other. So there you go, everyone. If y'all want to watch the original video, the link is in the description. Go check it out and shit. And I'm getting the fuck out here, so yeah. My name is Billy Bob Tanley, and I approve this message.